The prince pushed me into the freezing mud, laughing because I was just a pregnant maid. He told me to leave, to die in the woods, but I didn't run. I walked straight to the Forbidden West Wing, knocked on the Monster King's door, and made him an offer. Your brother doesn't want his heir, do you? The air in the scullery was thick enough to chew, slick with the heavy cloying scent of burnt bacon grease. It coated the back of Nia's throat. Her stomach twisted into a wet, ringing knot. She clamped her teeth together, forcing the hot bile back down. She couldn't be sick, not here. The head housekeeper hunted for weakness, like a shark scenting blood. She dunked her rag into the bucket. The water swirled gray and gritty. It was cold enough to numb bone, biting into the raw, cracked skin of her knuckles like 1,000 tiny teeth. But she didn't stop. Rhythm was safety. Silence was survival. She was nothing here, just a maid, a shadow, dust in the corner of the royal pack house. A sudden cramp seized her midsection, sharp and jagged. Nia froze, pressing a soapy hand to her stained apron. Her heart slammed against her ribs, echoing the shouting cooks and hissing steam pots. Hunger clawed at her insides, a hollow ache far worse than the nausea. Her gaze darted to the key overflowing slop bucket. There, a discarded apple core, oxidizing to a soft bruised brown, nestled among eggshells and coffee grounds. To anyone else, garbage. To her, salvation. Her hand shot out. She snatched the fruit, shoving it deep into her apron pocket. The damp fabric clung to her thigh, a secret weight against her skin. Prince Merrick, the golden wolf. Just thinking the name made the fine hairs on her arms stand up. Even now, the phantom pressure of his presence hung in the house, a heavy static. The memory of his scent, cedar and rain, tasted like betrayal. Tonight, he'd bind himself to a duchess, while the evidence of his whispered midnight lies grew silently inside her. She dipped her rag back into the icy water. Make yourself small, invisible. If she just scrubbed the stone until it gleamed, maybe she could hide the bump for another week. Then the world tilted. A flutter, distinct, deliberate. A ripple low in her womb. A kick. Her breath hitched. The wooden scrub, brush slipped from her wet grip, clattering against the stone with a hollow crack. Mine, her inner wolf whimpered, waking from its dormancy. Cub. Mine. Protect. She wasn't just Nia the maid anymore. She was a mother carrying a royal heir. The baby was real, strong, awake. Terror turned her blood to ice. If the pack found out... If Merrick found out... The light from the high windows vanished. A shadow stretched over her, smelling of stale perfume and malice. You missed a spot. The voice was a serrated edge. A senior maid loomed over her, eyes cold chips of flint. The woman stared at Nia's pale face. Then her gaze traveled down, lower, resting on the slight treacherous curve hidden beneath the loose linen. The silence stretched, tight as a bowstring. You're slow today, stray, the woman spat. She kicked the bucket. Cold water sloshed over the rim, soaking Nia's knees. The prince demands perfection, not your filth. Nia snatched the brush back up, fingers shaking. Yes, I'm sorry. I'll fix it. She scrubbed frantically, rough bristles scraping stone. But her mind raced. The secret was getting too big to keep. The baby shifted again, a solid, undeniable pressure against her ribs. Fear settled into a cold, hard resolve. She'd eat that rotting apple. She'd survive the cold. Because now, she wasn't just fighting for herself.
The reflection in the gilded glass offered no deception. He looked like a king. Merrick turned. The midnight blue velvet jacket whispered against his skin, soft, obscenely expensive, tailored tight to hint at the lethal muscle coiled beneath. He ran a thumb over the gold cuff. Cool, smooth, every inch of him curated. Perfect. Does the collar sit right? He didn't turn toward the guard. His gaze remained fixed on the man in the mirror. "Yes, Your Highness," the guard grunted. The scent of nervous sweat rolled off him. "Perfect." Merrick's lips curved into a slow smirk. Tonight was the culmination of a decade of planning. The northern silver mines. The Duchess possessed a laugh like grinding stones, but her dowry was power, and power was the only aphrodisiac that mattered. A phantom itch prickled his palms. Nia. The memory surfaced, unbidden. For a second, static electricity charged the air, a low hum pulling at his chest. He could almost smell her, cream and cheap soap. The memory of her skin sparked a sudden, irritating heat in his groin. "Mine," his wolf growled, pacing the cage of his ribs. "Mate. Want." Merrick shoved the beast down, crushed the instinct with cold logic. No. Liability. Touching the maid had been a lapse, a moment where the animal won. She'd looked at him with those wide, worshipful eyes, and he'd taken what was offered. But that was over. "Captain," Merrick said, voice smooth as polished obsidian. "Sir?" Merrick walked to the crystal decanter. Amber whiskey glowed in the lamplight as he poured. "The preparations for the ball. The guest list is final?" "Yes, sir." He swirled the glass. Ice cubes chimed musically against the crystal. "And the staff? We can't have unsightly things ruining the aesthetic. The palace must look pristine." He took a sip. The alcohol burned pleasantly, searing away the taste of treachery. "I want the trash taken out." The guard shifted. Leather armor creaked. He knew. Everyone knew. "The girl, sir." "The little one?" "She's an eyesore. Dismiss her." "Dismiss her? Tonight?" The guard hesitated. The scent of anxiety sharpened. "It's freezing rain out there. The temperature is dropping." Merrick turned. The air pressure in the room plummeted. The warmth of the hearth vanished, replaced by the biting ozone of an alpha's rising aggression. His eyes ignited, bleeding from human hazel to predatory yellow. "Did I stutter?" The rumble vibrated through the floorboards. "Submit," his wolf snarled. "No, sir, of course not." The guard bowed, exposing his neck. "Good." Merrick turned back to the mirror. The yellow faded. "Give her nothing. No severance. No reference. She leaves with what she came with. Nothing." He admired the sharp line of his jaw. "I can't have rumors, Captain. I'm about to be a husband. I need a clean slate." It was a lie. He didn't care about the sanctity of marriage. He cared about the throne. A bastard child with a scullery maid was a stain on his velvet reputation. Stain he would scrub out with ice. Whatever pull he felt, that magnetic, annoying tug, he severed it now. He visualized the bond snapping like a dry twig. "Get rid of her before the first guest arrives," Merrick commanded, swallowing the whiskey. "And if she causes a scene, throw her in the mud where she belongs." "As you wish, Your Highness." The latch clicked shut. Merrick set the glass down. He felt lighter, unburdened. The static was gone, replaced by a hollow, chilly silence. He was a good prince. He was doing what was necessary. He began to whistle, a happy, carefree tune floating through the warm air. He felt not a shred of guilt. Wolves did not concern themselves with the bleating of sheep.
The summons arrived with the bleeding edge of sunset. Nia stood over the basin, water brown and starchy. Her fingers were numb claws. The apple was long gone, a phantom sweetness, and her empty stomach cramped around the void. "You, up, now!" The voice grated against the stone walls. The captain of the guard filled the doorway, a towering slab of muscle smelling of wet wool and iron. Nia dropped the peeler. "Sir, the courtyard, the prince demands your presence." For a heartbeat, silence. Then her pulse galloped, hammering against her ribs. The prince. A dangerous, foolish hope bloomed in her chest. Maybe he knew. Maybe the bond had told him of the life growing inside her. Merrick could be cruel, but he was a wolf. Instinct drove them to protect their bloodline. "Yes, yes, I'm coming," she stammered. She wiped raw hands on her filth-stained apron, frantically smoothing the frizz of her hair. She wanted to look pretty. She failed. Nia followed the captain. The temperature dropped. with every step, shifting from the humid kitchens to the drafty main hall. His boots struck the stone with a heavy cadence. A countdown. Wrong, her inner wolf paced. Trap, danger, run. They reached the great oak doors. The guard threw his weight against them. A wall of wind hit her, then the slap of freezing rain. The courtyard was a gray, churning sea of mud, smelling of ozone and violence. Nia stepped out. Icy water soaked her thin linen dress instantly, plastering fabric to skin. She shivered, wrapping arms around her midsection to shield the secret bump. And then she saw him. Merrick stood atop the raised stone dais, shielded by the overhang. Dry, warm. The midnight blue velvet looked impossibly soft against the grit of her world. A god descending to judge the damned. But the horror wasn't seeing him. It was the audience. Maids, grooms, cooks, lined up under the eaves, eyes wide. This wasn't a meeting. This was a spectacle. Merrick, she whispered. Titles forgotten. She reached, out with her voice. He looked down. His face was marble perfection, but his eyes, those hazel eyes, were flat, dead. Step forward. The command carried the supernatural weight of an alpha, vibrating in her bones. Lead legs pulled her forward until her worn shoes squelched deep into the freezing mud. She looked up, rain blinding her. Please don't. You're accused of theft, Merrick announced to the courtyard. The lie hit her like a physical blow. What? Stealing from the royal stores? And spreading vicious, slanderous lies about the crown? No, Nia cried out. I never— Merrick, please, I carry your— Silence. The roar shook the rain from the air. Thunder answered, shaking the ground. You are a stray, a liar, and a thief. He took a slow step down the stairs. A dark storm cloud. The static charge flared. Not the warmth of attraction, but the burn of a severed wire. You're dismissed, banished from these grounds on pain of death. He pointed a gloved hand toward the iron. Gates. Go. Nia stood frozen, freezing rain mixed with hot tears. But her hand trembled over her stomach. The baby. Merrick laughed. A short, sharp sound. That mongrel thing? It has nothing to do with me. In a single breath, her heart didn't just break, it pulverized. He knew, and he didn't care. He turned his back, velvet swirling. Get her out of my sight, she smells like trash. Guards leveled spears. Nia looked at the mud coating her shoes, the iron gates. Then her gaze drifted to the distant dark outline of the West Wing, the Forbidden Wing, where the Monster King waited. A strange heat sparked in her chest, not hope, not fear, molten, jagged rage. Deep inside, the baby kicked, a solid, defiant thump. Mine, her wolf snarled, rising from the ashes. We survive, we kill. Nia lifted her chin. She turned toward the gate, not as a victim, but as a mother with a war to fight. The guard didn't take her arm. He shoved her, brutal, deliberate. Nia gasped as boots lost purchase on slick cobblestones. Gravity snatched her. She flailed, clutching empty, wet air. She hit the ground with a sickening, wet impact. Freezing sludge, a slurry of ice and filth, soaked through her dress, chilling her skin to the bone. Copper filled her mouth. She'd bitten her tongue. Look at her. Merrick's laugh cut the rain. Sharp, cruel. Nia tried to push up, hands sinking deeper into the muck. She looked like a broken doll, a discarded thing. The servants were laughing too. The head cook covered a smirk. They were glad it wasn't them. Pathetic, Merrick sneered, flicking invisible dust from his sleeve. Don't let her dirty the gates. Nia froze. She lay half buried, knees screaming. But the physical agony was nothing compared to the hollow, expanding ache in her chest. He had loved her. Or she thought he had. Liar. The word echoed in her skull. The baby shifted inside. Her. A sharp, angry twist. Her world tilted. She wasn't just a maid, she was a mother. And this man, this golden prince, was trying to kill her child. Slowly, Nia lifted her head. Mud dripped from her chin. Hair plastered to her skull. She didn't look like a person. She looked like a monster rising from the swamp. "You," she whispered. Merrick didn't hear. He was walking back toward the warmth, toward his future. "You'll regret this," she said. Louder. The wind snatched her voice, but something inside her snapped, a dry twig breaking under a heavy boot. She didn't cry. Tears were for girls with hope. A low sound vibrated in her throat, deep in her diaphragm. A rumble, the mother's growl. She planted hands deep into the freezing mud. Pushed. Muscles screamed. She stood up, unsteady, shaking, dirty, cold, alone, but still breathing. The main gates loomed, iron, heavy, open just a crack to the forest. If she walked through those gates, she died. Simple. No coat, no money. The bitter cold would take the baby before morning. The guards waited by the gate, leaning on spears, waiting for the show to end. Nia took a step, then another, stopped. She turned her head left, toward the shadow of the castle falling over the courtyard like a bruise. The west wing, dark, silent, black jagged obsidian walls choked with veins. The domain of King Lucian, the monster. Rumor said he ate wolves, said he was mad. Gate equals death, west wing equals danger. Her heart hammered a new rhythm. If Merrick wants me dead, then the enemy of my enemy is my only hope. She turned, walking not toward the exit, but toward the monster's lair. A gasp rippled through the courtyard. "Hey!" a guard shouted. "Wrong way, girl! The trash heap is that way!" Nia didn't flinch. Eyes locked on the heavy oak door. "She's mad," someone whispered. "He'll rip her throat out." Maybe he would. Her feet felt heavy, underwater. The wind pushed against her chest, but the fire in her belly drove her. One step, just one more. She wasn't Nia the maid. She was a weapon carrying a bomb, a baby belonging to the throne. And she was going to deliver it to the one man who could detonate it. "Stop her!" Merrick's voice rang out. Panic flared in his tone. "Guards, stop that bitch!" Nia didn't run. She couldn't, but she didn't slow down. She reached the stone steps. Two massive guards in black armor, the Night King's colors, crossed their spears. Steel clashed. "Turn back!" one growled, voice like grinding stones. "No one enters." Nia stopped, a wet, muddy speck against their hulking frames. She looked up, straight into the darkness of the visor. "I have a gift," she said, voice cold, dead. "For the king." Spear tips hovered inches from her throat. "The king takes no gifts," the guard snarled. Smell of stale tobacco and aggression. "Leave, before we decorate the pavement with your insides." Nia felt the baby kick. A solid thump against her spine. Courage. She inhaled. The air here smelled of ozone, lightning waiting to strike. Him. "I'm not begging," Nia lied. She pulled wet shoulders back, channeled every ounce of the Luna she had never been allowed to be. "I have something he wants. Something his brother lost." The guards hesitated. Armor creaked. They exchanged a look. They hated the prince too. "He'll kill you," the second guard warned. Tone softer, pitying. "He's in a mood." "I'm already dead," Nia said. She stepped forward, into the spear point. Cold metal pressed against her neck. A single drop of blood welled up, hot and stark. She didn't blink. The latch gave way. Not the guards. The door. The massive oak groaned. Hinges shrieked like a dying animal. Slowly, it swung inward. Darkness poured out. Living, breathing shadow. "Let her in." The voice came from the abyss, deep velvet baritone vibrating in Nia's teeth, expensive whiskey and danger. The guards dropped spears, bowed low. Your Majesty! Nia stood alone on the threshold. Warmth hit her like a wave. Old books, wood smoke, and something wild, predatory, cedar and blood. She stepped over the threshold. Muddy boots left filthy prints on pristine black marble. Hello, Your Majesty, she whispered into the dark. The door slammed shut, deafening. The silence roared. She was in the belly of the beast.
The silence was usually absolute. Then, the scent hit him. Lucian didn't look up from the hearth. He remained sunk in his leather chair, whiskey dangling from fingertips. His nose told the story. First, rain. Freezing, muddy misery. Next, fear. Sharp, metallic. Rabbit before the hawk. Underneath that, something else. The wolf in his gut pricked its ears. Blood, not spilled. Bloodline, ancient golden blood. His family's specific biological signature. But not coming from him. And not coming from the wet creature in his foyer. It was coming from inside her. Lucian took a slow sip. The burn grounded him. You have 5 seconds, he rumbled, thunder in a canyon, to explain why you smell like my brother's mistakes. He stared into the flames, watching orange light dance across the jagged scars mapping his bare chest. I'm no mistake, a voice answered. Small, trembling, but unbroken. Lucian paused. Most people stuttered, pissed themselves. This wet little bird spoke clearly. Turn around, she demanded. Lucian smirked into his glass, the audacity. Slowly, he unfolded his massive frame, towered over the furniture, turned. She was pathetic, soaked, mud caked thick on her legs, hair a matted rat's nest. But her eyes, gray, stormy, locked on his face. She didn't flinch at the scars. You're the maid, Lucian realized. The one Merrick plays with. The one Merrick threw away, she corrected. The air thickened. Lucian stepped forward, let his alpha aura bleed out, a crushing weight. She swayed, knees buckled, but she didn't fall. She planted feet wide, wrapped a protective arm around her stomach, and he let it happen. The realization hit like a blow to the gut. She wasn't a trespasser. She was a weapon, dropped on his doorstep by the fates. Why are you here, little mouse? He stepped until his body heat radiated against her cold skin. Did you come to die? No, she whispered, baring her throat. I came to make a deal with the devil.
He was bigger than the stories, a mountain of muscle and violence, scars twisting like roots across his chest. He smelled of lightning and whiskey, intoxicating. Or maybe that was the hunger. A deal? Lucian laughed, dry as bone. I have gold, land, armies. What could a scullery maid offer me? Nia swallowed the bile. Don't shake. I have the Heir, she said. The room went dead. Only the crack of the log in the fireplace remained. Lucian's eyes narrowed into black pits. Merrick denies it. He's a liar. Anger flared hot. He rejected us. Tonight, in the mud. Cast aside his own bloodline because I don't have a title. She stepped closer to the monster. Suicide. He needs an heir to secure the throne. Without a child, his claim is weak. Lucian watched her. Predator assessing a trap. And I have it. She pressed her hand flat against her damp apron. The true heir, the firstborn. She took a breath. The gamble. Take me, claim me, raise him as your own. Lucian's eyebrows shot up. Raise my brother's bastard? Raise the king, she corrected. If you make me your queen, this child becomes yours by law. You steal his legacy. You steal his future. Lucian went still. She saw the gears turning. He didn't care about her, but he hated Merrick. His hatred pulsed in the room. Revenge, he murmured, sweet on his tongue. He thinks I'm trash, Nia whispered. Tears pricked her eyes. Help me destroy him. Help me make him bow to the trash he threw in the mud. Lucian moved, a blur. Suddenly, he was in front of her. His hand, rough, scarred, reached out. Nia flinched. His thumb brushed her cheek, wiped away a smudge of dirt. Surprisingly gentle. He threw you away, Lucian said softly. The fool. He leaned down, nose brushing her neck, scenting her, scenting the truth. You hate him, Lucian stated, with every breath. Good. He pulled back, a slow, terrifying smile showing too many teeth. Deal.
Get the bath ready. Burn these rags. Servants scrambled. Lucian stood in the shadows, watching. Nia stood in the center of his private bathroom. Gold fixtures, velvet towels. I can wash myself, she stammered, clutching her ruined apron. You're shaking, Lucian said flatly. You can barely stand. He nodded to Greta, the head maid. Help her. Greta peeled the wet layers away. Lucian should have looked away. He didn't. He was assessing his investment. As the dress fell, he saw the truth. Ribs showing through pale skin like cage bars. Bruises, purple and yellow blooms from the fall. Heat flared in his chest. Dark, primal, possessiveness. Who let her get this thin? Who let her get this cold? Merrick. Nia hissed as she stepped into the hot water. It turned gray instantly. Scrub her, Lucian commanded. Voice rough gravel. Scrub away every trace of him. He watched the filth run off. Rich, dark mahogany hair emerged. Skin turned pink. The maid disappeared. A queen emerged. She sat back, hand on her stomach. Exhausted, beautiful, real. Your Majesty? Lucian blinked. He'd walked closer. Nia looked at him. Wet hair plastered to shoulders. Static snapped between them. The clothes, he said abruptly, gesturing to the bed. Put it on. Red? She asked. The color of war. He turned to leave. Needed distance from her scent, rain, and resilience. Tonight, we go to the ball. We remind my brother that even trash can start a fire. Thank you, she whispered. Lucian paused at the door. Don't thank me, Nia. I'm using you. I know, she replied. Steady. I'm using you too. He smiled. Real this time. Touché.
The fabric weighed 1,000 pounds. Deep blood-red velvet pooling like liquid fire. Her hands shook on the laces. She was used to rough wool. This was a second skin made for a queen. The velvet hugged the secret bump like a warm hand. She pulled tight. The maid was squeezed out of existence. She turned to the mirror. A stranger stared back, shoulders bare, dark eyes dangerous. Not a victim, a predator. Is this me? She touched the cold glass. A shiver ran down her spine. She was playing a role, the greatest con of her life. If she tripped, if she stuttered. Merrick would laugh. Lucian would throw her to the wolves. I'm not trash, she whispered to the glass. I'm the mother of a king. The latch clicked. Nia spun. Lucian stood in the doorway, formal black suit, tailored to the terrifying width of his shoulders, civilized mostly. But the scar on his neck promised violence. He stopped, stared. Does he see the dirt? Come here, he said, rough. Nia couldn't move, so he came to her, moved like smoke, stopped inches away. He held something glittering, diamonds, a collar of cold stones. Turn around. Nia turned, swept heavy hair off her neck, exposed her vulnerability. Cold metal touched skin, then warm fingers. He clasped it. Knuckles grazed her spine. Electricity jolted the floor. Perfect, he murmured against her hair. Not a compliment, a tactical fact. She was his weapon. Loaded.
He fastened the clasp. Fingers lingered. Her skin was soft. But it wasn't the texture that froze him. It was the smell. An hour ago, rain, mud, betrayal. Now, vanilla and night-blooming jasmine. And underneath, something sharper. The scent of the baby had changed. Before it reeked of Merrick, metallic. Now it shifted, darkened, rejecting the father who had rejected it. Impossible. DNA was DNA. Unless the wolf spirit inside the child knew. Standing in the protection of a stronger alpha, it was choosing a new sire. Choosing him. Lucian's heart slammed against ribs. Thud, thud. He pulled his hand back. Fire. This was a game. A maneuver. Mine. The beast whispered. Ours. No. Lucian thought. She is a tool. But his claws itched. Is it too tight? Nia asked softly, turning, eyes searching his face. Lucian took a sharp step back. It fits. He offered his arm, a stiff barrier. The cord is waiting. Do not embarrass me. Nia took his elbow, gripped tight, desperate, spark. Lucian gritted his teeth. Let's go, he growled. Time to feed you to the lions.
The hallway was endless. Click-clack, click-clack. She held Lucian's arm like a life raft. Violins swelled, voices murmured. Crystal chimed. A different world. Breathe, Lucian said. If you faint, I leave you on the floor. I won't faint, Nia snapped. Lucian's lip twitched. The great doors, 20 feet high, gold leaf. Behind them, Merrick. Nausea flipped her stomach. She squeezed Lucian's arm. He's in there. Yes. He covered her hand. Palm rough grounding. And he thinks you're freezing in the woods. He thinks he won. Black eyes burned. Show him he's wrong. Announce us, Lucian commanded the guards. The herald cleared his throat, nervous. His Majesty, King Lucian of the West Wing. Doors groaned open. Light spilled out. Noise died. Every head turned. Nia wanted to run. The baby kicked. No, I am not running. And the herald stammered, looking at the red dress. And his guest. His mate, Lucian corrected. The word vibrated against the chandeliers. Mate. A collective gasp. Nia looked at Lucian. He was looking across the room, at the high table, where Prince Merrick had just dropped his wineglass. Shatter. Lucian pulled her forward. Walk, he whispered, breath hot. Let them bow, my love. Nia stepped over the threshold, lifted her chin, fixed a smile sharp enough to cut glass. She entered the lion's den and realized she was the lion.
The wine was vintage. Merrick swirled it, bored. The Duke's daughter prattled on about horses. He scanned the room for admiration. And then Papa said, charming, Merrick lied. He took a sip. Tasted like victory. The maid was gone, freezing in a ditch. Problem solved. The music stopped. Violent cut. Silence suffocated the great hall. Merrick frowned. Who dares? Double doors threw wide, a giant shadow in black. Lucian. Merrick's lip curled. The monster. He opened his mouth to make a snide comment. The words died. Lucian wasn't alone. A woman in red, arterial blood red, velvet clinging like sin, diamonds dripping like ice, stunning. Merrick squinted. Familiar. The jaw. The gray storm eyes. No. Heart skipped. Slammed. Impossible. He saw the hand over her stomach. Nia. The trash he had pushed into the mud 3 hours ago. His mate, the herald announced. Mate? His brother mated his reject? His bastard. The room spun. Fingers went numb. Crash. Crystal hit stone. Red wine splashed. His boots. Blood. She was looking right at him. Not crying, smiling. Coldest thing he'd ever seen. She wasn't dead. She was queen.
The fear smelled delicious. Sour milk and cold sweat. Lucian walked Nia through the crowd. The sea parted. Dukes bowed. Duchesses curtsied, eyes wide. They looked at her. The red dress, the high head. Brave, his wolf purred. Keep walking, he murmured. Don't look down. They reached the high table. Merrick sat frozen. Lucian blocked the light, forced Merrick to look up at the monster. Brother, Lucian said, soft, deadly. Merrick scrambled to stand. Lucian, I didn't expect. Clearly. Lucian pulled Nia closer, wrapped his arm around her waist, claiming the space, then the unthinkable. Slowly, Lucian placed his large hand over her stomach, over the velvet, over the child. The room gasped, a public claim of paternity. To touch the belly was to claim the blood. I present to you, Lucian boomed, shaking the glass, my queen. He bored his eyes into Merrick, and the future of the kingdom. Merrick's eyes bulged. He knew, but he couldn't speak. Claim the baby. Admit. Treason. Stay silent. Lose the bloodline. Trap snapped shut. Congratulations, Merrick choked out. Thank you. Lucian smiled. Teeth. We are very blessed. He leaned in close. She likes the West Wing, Lucian whispered. Gravel. It's much cleaner than the mud. Merrick flinched. Lucian felt dark satisfaction. He had taken Merrick's power and his discard, and realized he didn't want to give either back.
Legs were water. Only Lucian kept her upright. She stood in front of Merrick, the golden prince. He looked small, sweat on his brow, wine on his boot, terror in his eyes, just a boy in a fancy suit. The fear evaporated, replaced by ice. Merrick saw her, really saw her. Nia? He mouthed, desperate. She didn't answer. She tilted her head, looked down her nose, just like he had done. Silence roared. Merrick swallowed, he realized protocol. Slowly, painfully, the prince lowered his head, bent his waist, bowed, to the maid. Nia felt a wild laugh bubble. He is bowing to his own child. You may rise, she said. Clear, royal. Merrick straightened, face mottled red. Lucian leaned down, lips brushed her ear. Shiver. Let them bow, my love. My love, a lie, but her heart didn't care. Shall we dance? Lucian asked. He swept her onto the floor, spinning, gold streaks. She kept her eyes on Merrick, alone, defeated. She let the power wash over her. She wasn't dust. She was the storm. Silk sheets felt like water. Nia woke in a haze of warmth, gold, sunlight, the king's bed. She sat up, heart fluttered. Last night felt real. A fairy tale where the beast didn't eat the girl. She touched the pillow next to her, cold, empty. Stupid girl. You are a job. She slid out of bed, the note, folded under a silver candlestick. Gray, rough paper. She unfolded it, jagged handwriting. Do you know why the West Wing is quiet? Ask him about the others. Ask him why every woman he touches ends up cold. Breath hitched. He doesn't want you. He wants the blood. Once the pup is born, the vessel is broken. You are just an incubator, Nia. Tears welled. A lie. Merrick wrote this. But doubt blossomed like a poisonous flower. Lucian was a monster. Cold. Ruthless. What if the kindness was acting? She had nothing. If he took the baby? She looked around. The gold looked like bars. Panic rose. Bile and copper. She grabbed her old gray dress from the floor, ignored the red velvet. Reality. She had to run. She rushed to the door. Click. Didn't turn. Locked. Hello? She rattled the handle. Is anyone there? Silence. He locked her in. The note was right. She wasn't a guest. She was a prisoner.
The council chamber smelled of rotting teeth. This is insane, Elder Thomas wheezed. Is it? Merrick asked smoothly. Merrick stood in the center, shed of fear, on the attack. My brother has always been eccentric, but this, claiming a scullery maid? Lucian sat in the shadows, stone-faced, rip his throat out. She is my mate, Lucian growled. Is she? Merrick stepped closer. Or is she a witch? Did she slip you something to make you claim a bastard? The room went dead. A bastard cannot sit on the throne, Thomas said. The blood must be pure. The blood is pure. Lucian gritted. Prove it. Merrick's eyes gleamed. I want the circle of truth. Lucian went cold. The circle. Dark magic. Agony. No. Lucian roared, standing. Chair scraped harsh against stone. She is carrying an heir. The stress could kill her. Ah. Merrick smirked. So you admit it's not yours? I am protecting my queen. You are protecting a lie. If you refuse, Thomas said slowly, the child will be disposed of. Lucian's claws punched his palms. Blood dripped. Drip, drip. Trapped. Agree, she could die. Refuse, baby dies. Merrick knew. Lucian's voice broke. Helpless. Boom. Doors banged open. Nia stood there. Gray dress, messy hair, pale, but eyes on fire. I will take the test, she said.
Stone walls. Runes glowing sickly green. Nia, no. Lucian was at her side, panicked. It burns. Let it burn, Nia whispered. She pulled away, looked at him. He looked desperate. Maybe the note was the lie. I have nothing to hide, Nia said. Looked at Merrick. Step in, stray, Merrick sneered. Nia placed a hand on her belly. Hold on. She stepped into the circle. Floor hummed. Vibration rattled teeth. Then fire. Nia gasped, fell to knees. Nia! Lucian lunged. Invisible wall threw him back. Sparks flew. Magic crawled over her skin. Hunting. Who is the father? The oracle voice boomed. Merrick! Nia screamed. Prince Merrick! Circle flared. Yellow light. Merrick went pale. She lies. Magic does not lie, Thomas whispered. Then the light changed. Yellow darkened, twisted, orange, red, crimson, the color of the West Wing. Nia screamed. Something shifted inside. Biological rewrite, the bond moving. The rejection of the father triggers the law of the chosen sire. Yellow was eaten by red. Explosion of power. Dust settled. Nia knelt, panting. Above her, a hologram. Not Merrick's crest. The wolf of the West. Lucian walked through the barrier. Knelt. Mine, he whispered. No, Nia rasped, wiping blood from her nose. It's justice.
Red light faded. Lucian felt it. A new tether. A golden thread connecting his heart to the heartbeat inside Nia. His blood. His son. Mine, his wolf roared. Impossible, Merrick gasped. Lucian turned slowly. Merrick stood near the ruined table. Face gray. You stole it, Merrick screamed. You witch. You threw him away, Lucian said, stalking forward. The magic heard you. You called him trash, so the magic gave him a father who wanted him. No, I am the prince. That is my child. The blood has shifted, Thomas said. The child belongs to the king. Merrick saw the guards looking at Lucian. Loyalty shifting. Snap. If I can't have the crown, Merrick snarled, eyes sickly yellow. No one will. He drew a guard's sword, aimed at Nia. Die, stray. Nia was on her knees. Lucian's heart stopped, then exploded. He didn't shift, he detonated. Bones cracked, suit shredded, black fur erupted. Roar. A massive black wolf slammed into Merrick. They hit the table. Crunch. Wood splintered. Merrick screamed, trying to shift. Too slow, too soft. Lucian sank claws into shoulder. Blood sprayed. Hot. You touched her. Lucian wasn't king, he was executioner. Merrick shifted. Small, golden wolf. Snapped at Lucian's neck. Lucian shook him, ragdolled him into the wall. Thud. Merrick lay there, whining. Shifted back to human, naked, broken. Lucian stalked, paws silent, saliva dripping. Please, Merrick sobbed. Brother? Brother? Lucian growled. He opened jaws, aimed for the throat. Lucian? A whisper, soft. Stop. Lucian froze. Nia stood there, not looking at Merrick, looking at him. Not afraid. She reached out. He's beaten, she whispered.
Room destroyed. Smell of copper and musk. Nia walked to the wolf. Down, she said. Invitation. Lucian huffed, stepped back, shifted, sickening crack. He stood human, chest heaving. He tried to kill you. I know. She looked at Merrick, curled in the corner. Pathetic. Finish it, Lucian rasped, handing her the sword. Nia took the cold hilt. Nia, Merrick choked. I made you. Show mercy. Mercy. The thing he never gave. Nia raised the sword. Merrick flinched. No, she said. Clang. She dropped the sword. You spare me? Merrick blinked. I don't spare you, Nia said. Ice. I sentence you. Exile? Nia smiled. Sharp. Exile is for nobles. You have no name. She pointed to the corner. A bucket and mop. The courtyard is muddy, Merrick. His eyes went wide. Horror. No, just kill me. Death is a luxury, Nia replied, stepping into Lucian's arms. And you can't afford it. She looked at the guards. Give him a rag. He has floors to clean. Guards grabbed the screaming prince, dragged him to the scullery. Nia rested her head on Lucian's bloody chest. You missed a spot, she whispered. Lucian laughed, rough, tired. Long live the queen.
Water gray, freezing. Merrick stared at raw red claws, blistered pads. Move it, stray. Guard kicked his boot. Merrick flinched, gripped the brush. Splinters dug in. He dipped the brush. Courtyard. The same spot where he laughed, where he pushed her. Now, he was the mud. Scritch, scratch. Servants watched, whispering. Look at him, someone giggled, losing his shine. Merrick squeezed eyes shut. A tear mixed with the dirty water. I was a prince, he whispered. Ghost. He scrubbed harder, trying to scrub away the shame. But the stain was deep. It would never come out.
Nursery quiet. Lilac breeze. Lucian stood by the crib, felt clumsy, large. Baby slept. Boy, black hair, eyes opening, molten gold. He looks like you, Nia said. She sat in the rocker, tired, radiant. Has your nose? Lucian argued gently. He offered a scarred finger. Baby gripped it. Strong, my son. Council approved the decree, Lucian said, kneeling by her chair, bowing head to her knee. Which one? Nia carded fingers through his hair. Anchor. Protection Act. No servant dismissed without cause, and funding for the orphanage. You're going to spoil them. Planning on it. Lucian realized the silence wasn't lonely. It was peace. Thank you, he whispered into her skirt. For what? For walking through the door.
Balcony. Wind whipping hair. Warm under Lucian's fur cloak. Nia looked down. One speck. Scrubbing. Tarnished gold. Thinking of pardoning him? Lucian stepped up, heat shielding her. No, Nia said. Balance, not cruelty. He has food, a roof, more than he gave me. Generous queen. Lucian wrapped arms around her, bit lightly at her neck. Shiver. Baby asleep? Fast asleep. Lucian pulled her back. I have you to myself. Nia turned, looked at the scars, her history. We did it, she whispered. We broke him. We built something better, Lucian corrected. He kissed her, hungry, whiskey and triumph. Nia melted, felt the heavy crown, hers. She pulled back, looked down at the courtyard one last time. Merrick wiped his brow with a dirty hand, looking up at the life he threw away. Nia smiled, leaned into Lucian's ear. Look at him, she whispered. He missed a spot. She turned her back on the prince, walked into the golden room with her king. The door clicked shut.